So do you really want to take that chance?
Well, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Ace Boogie.
And it's your dude, Josh, DE2Ns.
Man, you know you tuned in to Radioactive Podcast. And we got a special guest with us today. Man, please introduce yourself.
I'm the backup plan. Coach B. Michelle, the brand coach. It's okay. For AC, I'll be the backup for AC. But
man, and I love you. And I love you for that. You came through
I'll be the backup for AC.
I appreciate you to the end. I'm not even going to lie.
But I will be expecting a real official invite.
Yes.
Before this year is over.
You will. I promise you will. And you know what? But today we're going to give y'all a show. Now, today, we're about to educate y'all on a few things today. So, y'all be ready. But you know what I want to do is I want to start at the beginning for you. I want to know what it was like growing up. You know, so where are you originally from?
Illinois.
So what was it like for B. Michelle growing up in Illinois?
Well, the thing about it is, it was like I grew up in a lot of places though. So I was born in Illinois. I was actually born in Southern Illinois, near Carbondale, about an hour away from St. Louis. But my mother and my all her siblings and all of that side of my family, even part of my father's side, from Chicago. So we used to do the whole back and forth thing. Mm-hmm. So I lived in Chicago, then we moved to Milwaukee, then back to Illinois, then Lord, where else?
Well, why move so much? What was going on?
My mama was about that shit. She was like, when she's ready to go, she ready to go.
Yeah.
And so, well, let me take that. So I will say this. So up until, I think when I was 5 or 6, so up until like 5 or 6, honestly, I lived with my grandparents.
Okay.
So I stayed in Illinois definitely till I was 6, for sure. And then, because I went to first grade, in Milwaukee. Yeah, I went to first grade in Milwaukee. If I'm not, I did. I went to first grade in Milwaukee, and then we moved back to Illinois when I was in the 6th grade, in the middle of my 6th grade year. So I will say this, like, it shaped my whole thought process and being about how I feel about travel, how I interact with people. So really now my adult life really mimicked my childhood because I've lived a lot of places as an adult.
Yeah.
A lot.
How do you feel that shaped your, personality, being that you couldn't really, did it make it hard for you to find yourself? You couldn't stick with the consistent friends, and things like that.
To
What's
the person
crazy?
texting me right now, fuck you.
So the crazy part is that back in the day, as we was talking about before we started the show, we wrote letters.
Okay.
So it's funny because I had a container that I left at my friend's house that lives in St. Louis, and so my mother actually brought it back. It's been in her basement since 2012.
Ooh.
But it's stuff I've had since high school and stuff in there. So I'm going through it. I'm going through letters from friends from my freshman year of high school, from junior high. So when I moved away, I still stayed in contact with my friends. We wrote each other letters. I'm going through all these letters.
Wow.
That we wrote back and forth, that I wrote my cousins and stuff. And I'm like, I got a container full of letters. So we wrote letters. We stayed in touch. So the post office got all our money.
So it kept you grounded in a sense.
So, but moving, I will say, I had the luxury of going to all white schools.
Okay.
And I've also had the luxury to going to school with my people.
Okay.
At every stage except for college, but I went to University of Houston, which is across the street from TSU. So I feel like I got a little bit of HBCU experience, although I didn't necessarily I wasn't enrolled at TSU. So
University of Houston, isn't that not a HBCU as well?
No, University of Houston is a PWI.
Get out of here!
Yes,
I had no idea.
University of Houston is a PWI.
What?
What's PWI?
That's U of H, ain't it?
Primarily white institution.
That's a real acronym though.
Yeah, PWI. Yeah.
Damn.
So, but the thing about you, because it's in Houston, obviously, there's a good mix of black, Hispanic, and white. Like, it's fairly even. So you don't just see a ton of white people on campus.
Right.
You see everybody on campus. So in that is a very cultural. So you get a chance to interact. Like your classes are a little bit of everybody. But I would say I went to U of H for grad school. I went to University of Missouri, which is a PWI, 25,000 white people.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot. Like, my whole
city.
dorm full of white people.
I mean, do you think that? I guess. How would I put this? Do you think you got a better education at the white school rather than?
No, let me tell you, the best money I spent was at the University of Houston. Honestly, the graduate degree. So I got a master's in social work. Even my undergrad, like, although I thoroughly enjoyed my undergrad, like, when I got to the University of Missouri, I thought I was smart in high school. Like, I got a 3.7 GPA. When I got to University of Houston and wrote my first paper and all that read, the professor was, like, mad cool. He was like, look, I'm going to let you out this class because you need to go to remedial. He was like, you gonna need to go to a remedial writing class and then come back. He said, I'm gonna let you out, so it's cool. When I tell you I was hurt because I thought I could write, like, I was a writer in high school. When I tell you more, I could pump out some stories. Like, I used to write short stories in high school, and I was like, but I also went to high school in Illinois where the curriculum and academics is a little bit more intense than the South. So when I moved to Kansas City, I was like, man, I coasted through them 2 years. I was like, that's why I had like a 3.7 GPA. I'm like, this shit is easy. Because I was struggling. But I could write, though. At least I thought I could write until I got to the University of Missouri. But that whole experience right there really made me step my writing game up. And so from then on, I went on to write some stellar papers. Yeah. Like, I wrote a paper so good in grad school. My professor was like, you need to publish this. But it didn't process. Because I wrote a paper on domestic violence in the African American community.
Ooh.
But my presentation was fire though.
Yeah. What's some things that you still remember about that you could tell us about?
So statistically, one of the things that I really remember is that a lot of times in our community, it's not necessarily deemed as domestic violence. It's really deemed as assault on each other. Because most of the time in the black community, we fight each other. So it's not too many. It's not too many. And not to say this not happening, but statistically, it's more of they arguing or they fighting again. Because that's what we say. Yeah. We don't necessarily say, oh, she's being abused. Well, white people, it's abuse. She's in a domestic violence situation. We don't necessarily get tagged with domestic violence. It's, oh, they fighting. But black, I think also older, like I would say like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, like even depending on if you come from a predominantly well-off black family, like you were supposed to just take all the shenanigans, all the bullshit, because it wasn't, you were supposed to just stay married. So that was an era where you were just supposed to stay married no matter what he was doing. Well, obviously we didn't come up out of that for the most part. So most people, unless you really have no way out in 2023, you're really not standing in no abusive relationship unless you really, really just don't have any resources to dip. Like, honestly. So writing that paper made me really look at how domestic violence is looked at with white people and how it's viewed with us. And so it is harder. If we call the police, and sometimes even when the police come, the response is different when it's a domestic violence situation with a black couple versus when it's with a white couple. Like, somebody definitely instantly going to jail. And if not, both of them. So writing that paper and just looking at how, domestic violence really it is a real thing in our community. It's just that sometimes the way we refer to it as also make other people think that it's not as serious. And then if you come from money, it's like you just supposed to you're supposed to just suck it up and take it
Right.
because that's your husband. So
well, tell me about why you chose Zeta Phi Beta. Tell me about that experience.
That's funny though. That's a good one. Okay, so so the reason why, and I'm gonna be a total 100%
Are they the ones with the high
honest.
pitched voice, or which ones are they?
Kind of, sort of, but
They
that's
go-
I mean, the pink green.
You know who you thinking about when you no.
Yeah.
No.
Who am I thinking about?
You think about AKA.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
AKA.
I am. I know mine.
So what's funny is that I didn't even want to be Greek. Like
Okay.
in high school, like I went to step shows and everything in high school, but I didn't really want to. Like it wasn't, because there was a part of me that didn't know what I was going to do in high school. And then I think by my junior year, I was like, yeah, I'm going to college. But then I realized I'm going to college because all my friends was going.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm riding this college bandwagon for sure. So I went to step shows when I was in high school, but my best friend, who was a guy, I went to Mizzou, which is University of Missouri. He went to KU, which is rival schools, Kansas University. So he played Sigma his freshman year. So our freshman year of college was in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
So he played Sigma his freshman year. And so I would go up there and hang out. We rode, because he would come down to Mizzou, partying, road tripping, because it was like maybe a 3-hour drive from Mizzou, because Mizzou is 2 hours from Kansas City, another hour and a half to Lawrence. So yeah, about a three and a half hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
So we go hang out, party, whatever. But while I would be there, like the Zetas and the Sigmas were like mad cool. Like they never really necessarily treated me any different, because I wasn't Greek at the time when I was coming up there hanging out with them. And I realized that it was kind of a standard. Like when I would go hang out at other schools or hang out with my friends, there were Zetas. Like I never got, because I didn't actually become a Zeta till 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So from 95 to 01, that's like 6 years. I'm just in the mix. Because also then I transferred and came to Texas in 98. So I spent 3 years at Mizzou. But the Zetas at the time were either on campus. Oh no, they were on campus, but they really wasn't like active. So I didn't really know what I was going to do, because I had considered some other organizations, because I was like
what? Like what? I want to know. You want to be a Delta? That's what you about to go do?
I'm going to be honest with you. Hell no, because they was mean.
Okay, which one was it?
It was SG-Row, actually.
SG-Row, okay.
Yeah.
What's the best sorority though? Okay.
Zeta Phi Beta.
I say, I don't know why you.
Like, come on. Like, come on.
Oh, of course
think
you're gonna
she
say
was-
yours.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
You think
come
she
on.
was
But
somebody else?
if you
Zeta
wasn't to
Phi
say
Beta.
yours though, is it?
You said what happened?
I'm gonna ask AT.
He said if you wasn't to say yours,
Yeah.
who would you choose?
So I guess who the second best?
All right,
Okay.
all right, second.
Second best.
I guess I just know the ones that's popular. Not saying yours not popular.
I mean, because that's actually
No,
one of the main.
I'm saying like the main, yeah, like I
No,
do
no,
AKAs.
No, yeah. I mean,
So
I
here's the
know
thing.
because I know
Here's-
most because we're in 18 when we go to the parties and who's mainly there.
So it's geographical. So let me just say that first.
There we go.
It's geographical.
The one with me and AC mainly with.
But Texas-
there's a lot of AKAs there.
Zetas are very popular in Texas.
Okay.
Very, very
Were
popular
they
in Texas.
used to Tillotson?
yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So there's Zetas at Houston Tillotson, there's Zetas at UT, there's Zetas at Houston, it's Zetas
San
at every
Marcos,
college
Mm-hmm.
in Texas.
I seen like Omegas, more Omegas, I think.
Oh yeah, well that's
That's a fraternity.
at HT that was.
I
That
know
was
what I'm saying.
At
I
the
seen
time.
Yeah.
more than the ladies. I thought because I always seen the ones that with the high. That's how I remember them. Like they
Yeah.
both marching with the little skirts on and they had a high pitched voice saying.
So, but if you go,
Sorry,
like,
with them.
if you was in more of the Houston, Dallas area, for sure, like, or like a Texas A&M where it's a college school, it's a college campus, so you would definitely then see them. Like, when I moved to Houston, I was already a Zeta when I went to when I got to U of H. So I got to hang out with TSU Zetas, U of H Zetas from Lamar, Zetas from
They all
New
the same
Orleans.
though, or is it they different? Like if you,
All the same.
it's like if you're a Crip
in
from
what
Texas
capacity?
and then a Crip from California. Like we two different Crippin'. So
No,
is it
it's
like,
one. It's Zeta is Zeta.
okay, y'all
Now-
follow all the same exact rules. Y'all know the same handshakes or whatever
Yes.
it is. Okay.
Now, what I will say is that geographically, you probably will learn things about Zeta based on your region. Like for any Zetas that's made in Texas, like we learn certain things about Zetas, about Zeta and about the history and how Texas and how what happened, Zetas that were like, I guess, let me see what the proper word is for it. That were influential in Texas. Okay. So California Zetas probably may not learn about some of the Zetas who were influential in Texas because they live in California. Like we may not know some of the Zetas that were influential in California.
Who are some celebrity Zetas that we may not even know?
So Vivica Fox is an honorary Zeta.
Okay.
Selena Johnson is she plays Zeta at, I want to say, University of or Illinois State, but don't quote me. I think it's Illinois State. Selena Johnson. One of the Braxtons.
Is Zeta. Okay.
Yes, is a Zeta. Who else that y'all would know? Let me think. Who else would y'all know? Because now I'm drawing a blank.
Why are you answering that? What do you mean by honorary?
So
you're not really one, but we just claim you or some shit like that?
No, so from an honorary
like
perspective,
undergrad and then grad team,
so from a national level. So here's how the organizations work. So there's nationals, then you have your grad chapters, and then you have your undergrad chapters. So nationals is the whole organization. Like so think of it like a business. So the CEO. So nationals runs the organization. So you can join a fraternity or sorority at 2 levels, either undergrad or grad. But nationals is the governing body over the grad chapters and over the undergrad chapters. So those are the only 2 ways. I'll take that. Well, it's still undergrad because some cities have a citywide chapter, but it's still like those 2 levels only. But some cities, like Houston, does have a citywide chapter. I'm not sure if Houston still have their citywide chapter or not. But those are only 2 ways to really join a fraternity or a sorority is either pledge when you're an undergrad or join a grad chapter. So that's like the process. Now, the nationals, which is the CEO, that's like you saying, okay, I like you making Guideline an honorary
Guideline.
Spit hot fire.
Yeah.
Spit hot fire. So that's like you making Guideline an honorary member of the podcast. Okay. So he embodies all of the characteristics that you would want or that you look for in a host, but maybe he didn't get a chance to really apply for the job. That makes so that's a good that's a good analogy. You get.
So you're gonna get one of our partners and be like, bro, make me an honorary Omega, fam.
No, it has to happen from a national level, and it's also typically they mostly pick like top leaders. So,
we can't get no leaders to pick us. She said no, like we can't know no.
So they mostly pick like celebrities.
Like, I can't know like Steve Harvey or some goddamn body. Whoever Omega, like you feel what I'm saying?
No, it ain't gonna. I mean, but you have to be on Steve Harvey level. But
ain't Steve Harvey Omega?
Yeah, he is.
That's funny. You said
so
that.
Yeah, so you have to be on.
Or you just said it.
I knew that.
You have to be.
He lying. You know what? When I was in school,
I couldn't know it.
When I was in school,
you could know it.
When I was in school, they made it seem like at least I used to hang out with Omegas a lot. They made it seem like if you didn't pledge, if you pledged grad, they don't respect it. You know what I'm saying? They only respect the undergrad.
That is true.
Is that the same thing for you for Zetas as well? I mean, y'all really mainly because they put in that work. In other words.
So here's the thing. Like, so that is a true thing. I'm not even gonna front and say it's not a true thing. It is a true thing. Some people do feel like if you went grad that you didn't earn it or whatever happened. But what people fail to realize is that some people have no control over that. Like at the end of the day, like all of the panhandle, did away with hazing, and there's like regulations and all of that. So most people that join a grad chapter, these are like now full-time people with careers and jobs. Nobody got time to be up all night. Now, some people make do.
Yeah.
Things happen. But on average, like nobody got time to be up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning going to get no cereal and clean nobody's house and carry on and whatever, in their career. And sometimes it's also older people that join on top of that. So those things. So some people do have I don't think it's that much anymore, though. I think
Cheryl Underwood.
Yeah, Cheryl Underwood. Zeta, yes. Cheryl Underwood. So she was actually our Grand Basilisk. I want to say 2007-ish. 2007, I think she was in that term. And I forgot so she was actually our Grand Basilisk at one point. I liked it when she was the Grand, to be honest.
Can you give us a real interesting story, like when you were in your process of pledging? The best one you probably, the best and hardest.
I had
an
I had an intake process.
Intake. Okay.
Intake.
Tell me about that.
There was no pledging.
Yeah. Quote unquote air quotes.
That's you in them air quotes, not me.
Look, okay, I feel you. I feel you.
That's you in them air quotes.
So tell us the best story that you have, though.
Okay, let me see. What's the best story?
You come with something outrageous, like whoa.
Oh, it probably.
So okay, I'll tell you this one story. I mean, it's 25 years later. It don't really matter.
Right.
So right after I crossed in my process, I actually got suspended.
Okay, why? Tell us why. So this is you already done did everything.
So
you
I'm
had
already
to do.
a Zeta at this point. So I got suspended like maybe the week or two after becoming a Zeta. I got suspended.
When you say suspended, you talking about from the school or from
the chapter?
What?
Yeah,
I gotta hear this.
I got suspended. So I helped bring in
the next
set of people.
This was your payback in a sense. The way oh man, go ahead.
So I helped welcome the next set of Zetas.
I can only imagine how. I'm gonna tell you something.
And
so when you say welcome, you haze them.
No, I did not.
She ain't gonna say that.
That's where the air quotes come in. Okay. Oh, welcome.
I said welcome. So I helped welcome the following the Zetas after me.
Okay.
But a situation arose.
Okay.
In between in the welcoming process.
Okay, what happened?
And it wasn't even the people that we were welcoming. It wasn't even them. If my memory served me correctly, it wasn't them. But somehow somebody else got wind of the welcoming.
Okay.
When you say somebody else, suspicious.
Obviously that somebody else had to be part of the organization, right?
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, I think somebody else heard about the welcoming.
Oh, so they was like, oh, I'm coming.
The greeting, and then it went up the chain. So by the time it went up the chain, it really wasn't. And then honestly, it really wasn't nothing because our new friends, our people, they were on board.
Yeah, of course.
They were on board.
They had no choice.
Hold up. So
they had a choice.
They want to get I'm not gonna call that. They want to get because let me say this. Every time you say welcome, it just sounds more and more suspicious. Yeah. You feel me? We welcomed them. She said 30 times one sentence. Like, hold on, I don't think I want to be welcomed, fam.
The welcoming process.
Don't welcome me. So let me say this. So they want to be welcomed.
Yeah.
That's why they there.
So in this particular situation, like they had a choice. So for real,
okay,
we was okay either way. Cause I lost a lot of sleep, and I would have preferred to have been in the bed, but I couldn't punk out.
Right.
So I would have definitely preferred to have been asleep for sure. But yeah, so no, they totally had a choice. Like for real. So,
if you don't go through with it, do you still get pledged or whatever? Oh, what the hell?
You don't
let you torment me? Like, can I still be a part of your sorority if I don't let you?
Yeah, because this was at the graduate level. So
okay.
okay. If they didn't, they didn't.
Oh, they risk takers. Yeah, go ahead and do whatever to me. I'm gonna get in regardless, but just do what you're gonna do to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. So what happened? I'm still trying to hear what happened.
So by the time it went up the chain to like the state and regional director and stuff like that, so they heard about the welcoming process.
What happened at this welcoming process? You try to go around it. What happened? That's what it was long ago. You can talk about it. This was long ago.
I don't know. They might try to retroact me. They might try to retroact this shit. What? So I'm just saying they might try to retroact. No, like And to be honest with you, it wasn't even nothing. Like, real talk.
All right, tell us what it was.
I'm saying,
it was more
this-
like a lot of, more like really just being up late at night.
All right, tell us.
Honestly.
All right.
Like, real talk, though.
All right, tell us what it was so we can make
No,
that
that's what I'm
judgment.
saying. Real talk, it was just, unfortunately,
I know,
a lot
but
of
you said everything
ridiculous
except
late
specifically
nights.
what it was. Like, all right, specifically though, what was it? Because everything you done called it a welcoming. Now wish we was up late.
We sang songs. They learned songs.
Right, but
They
what got you
learned-
suspended specifically though? It can't be
No,
up
the
late.
welcoming process got me suspended.
No, so what in the welcoming process?
No,
got
it
you
was just
suspended?
the fact that there was a welcoming, that we welcomed them
Oh,
was
okay.
enough. That's
Okay.
what I'm trying to tell you. So
I know, but see, when you say welcoming like that, then it just leads me. It's just open.
you're
It's
gonna have
like
to use your
open-ended question.
You're gonna have to
Okay,
use your
then-
imagination on the rest of it. But it was
Nah.
the fact that, no, you gotta have to use your imagination. So I mean, I laid it out for you. It was the mere fact that there was a welcoming process and there wasn't supposed to be a welcoming process
got
the
you.
way.
Right.
That can't be the worst.
Okay,
You said
okay.
we said the worst thing. That can't possibly be the worst.
The worst thing, that is the worst thing when you get suspended like a week after you.
Oh my gosh.
So this was like, no, honestly, because
So I mean, when the line is getting created, who do you have to go through?
so there's like a dean of pledges, there's the MIP,
Right, the
so there's
DP.
the MIP process.
I'm thinking somebody got
what's
hit,
called
hurt,
MIP.
killed,
No.
a fire was set.
Hell no.
You feel me? Somebody lost a
Like-
finger or some shit.
like,
Like,
come
I'm
on.
thinking she about to tell a story. It ended with, oh, he was in late. We was outside late.
I'm not about to sit up here and tell you like, come on,
the
like
details.
Right.
Okay.
I done gave you enough. You got to fill in the blanks.
Nah,
my
you
friend.
didn't give me enough.
No, you got to fill in the
I
blanks.
can't even see it. Like,
So he didn't go to a HBCU or anything
okay.
like that. So he may not understand.
Okay, so it's like, so one of the things that we did, I think we was at,
but I understand stories and the art of storytelling. Okay, I want to hear.
right. So like one of the things that we did, we went at Walmart one night. It was late because I remember I was sleepy as hell.
This is why you're online?
No, I was done. This was
okay.
the welcoming
Okay.
process.
And don't do me like that. He went to he didn't go to no HBCU.
He went to a PWI.
Yeah, so no, we was at Walmart, and so I think we had told them, I had asked them.
You asked him?
Oh my God. I think we had asked them to go in Walmart and get something. And one of them came out with a pink
Lord.
do-rag.
Oh no.
But
No, he's saying like he amazed. This is,
like
He
one of them
don't
came
understand.
right, one of them came out with a pink hair wrap.
And
I
that's
was
not-
like,
so that's
That's not what you do. It better be blue or probably
Oh,
white.
you gotta
no,
be
it
y'all
definitely
color.
better not be blue.
Oh really?
Oh, what's
so
what's
what
you
they
guys'
supposed to
color?
do then?
What's y'all
I don't
color?
know what they
But
was.
that's
I don't know
see
what
that's
they was
they
supposed to
play
do.
mind games with you. That's what it is.
I don't know.
What's y'all's colors? What did you guys?
Blue
do?
and white, royal blue and white,
Royal blue.
royal blue and pure white. So yeah, if my memory served me correctly, because I don't and we may have asked for the pink, possibly. I don't know. I don't know. We may have asked. I don't.
That was
remember.
a setup then.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm just saying, but no. So like, it was a little traumatizing, honestly, to get suspended like
Yeah, yeah.
right after, like, 'cause
Hey, see,
I
give us a college story real quick.
Well, I'm telling you why I want to know.
like, okay, so you have to understand, like, I cannot. This is a whole public forum.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I cannot
Certain things you-
necessarily
Actually done
go.
some things in college that he don't.
Now, if
This
you
is
ask me
secret
anything-
society type stuff.
Right. If you ask me anything outside of that, I could probably just personally about myself.
We gonna ask outside because
Well,
I definitely want to
But
hear.
I wanna know-
I'm definitely not about to.
This is what I want to know because I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
something.
you right. My fault.
I was
You
going
right.
through.
My
I was going through the process. I wanted to join the mega. Right
Okay.
now, these guys are cool as I don't know what.
In the
Cool.
beginning. In the
At the end, I was there.
Yes.
They
In the
denied him
beginning.
though.
And
I was
then
there,
when
they
you
denied
getting
him.
on that line,
They switch up on
They
you.
switch up.
On
Are you
you.
like that?
I didn't switch up because, like I told you, I was just there because I really had to be there.
Okay.
But I did like stupid stuff. Like, okay, so I'll tell you this. So my good friend Donald, he and our birthday the same day, July 3rd. So when I was at Fort Hood, I met him at Fort Hood. So he had played Sigma in Philadelphia. So he was really attached to his home chapter. So he was like, "Hey, we got some new boys on the line," and I told them I want you to meet them or whatever, and like give them shit to do. And I was like, all right. So basically, I just made them So they was always in
Run errands
Philadelphia.
and things.
So basically, well, they was in Philly. I was in Houston
okay.
at the time. So basically, I just made them call and wake me up every morning. Like
Shit
at the
like that. Okay, I understand.
yeah. So I just made them call and wake me up every morning. I think they did come up with a greeting. You know, have a nice little
big sister.
right. They had a
Greetings,
you know,
big sister.
So yeah, so they would call and wake me up every morning, and whatnot. But yeah, it was like I wasn't that person. Like
Yeah.
that wasn't me, and I didn't. It's not my character every day. So yeah, I wasn't the switch up. I wasn't a switch up person. If anything, I probably was the savior.
Yeah.
I was like,
We
well, how
have
long
few
we
of
gonna
those,
be?
yeah.
Cause I was like, how long we gonna be? But you got people that's like committed
Yeah.
to the process. So yeah, they switch up on you real fast. Now I had the switch up happen to me
I know it. That's so
because I was friends
hurtful.
with the people when I decided to join. So yeah, I had to switch up process.
No, they switching up just for the sake of the sorority. They switching up.
Well,
like,
when
damn,
it's
I can't
time,
fuck
when
with
it-
you
when
no
it's-
more.
No,
No,
switching
no,
up
no.
during the process,
Okay.
doing the welcoming.
But we
process.
still after all
They
of
want to
this is
see
done,
how
we
much you
still
want
cool.
it, pretty much.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
we good.
Yeah.
no
No, so
hard
like
feelings?
when I literally after once you in class the next day, they
acting like nothing happened.
Act like nothing happened.
You tortured me last
Right.
night. Why are you
Right.
smiling at me?
Right. Just
yeah.
act like nothing happened. So what happened to your line?
No, I had to tell you that
Okay.
story later.
And that's what I mean, and that's one of the sad parts about it. Sometimes when you, especially when you're on the underground line and you don't necessarily know what's gonna happen, like you didn't pay your money, possibly.
You got to pay for this?
Yeah. I mean, it's an organization. At the end of the day, it's a business also, but it's a professional organization. So
Let me
one thing
ask
I
you-
will say
Go ahead.
about it is that membership do have its privileges, and that's
That's what I was
facts.
about to ask. So what is the purpose of, other than saying that, hey, I'm part of a sorority just like you, and
Well,
we
you-
gotta, but like, what's the point of joining a sorority now?
For me,
Yeah.
so
In general, not just for in general. Like, why does people like why?
So it's about
would
the
think
sister
networking.
or the it's about the networking, it's about the sister or the brotherhood, it's about the connection that you make with people, it's about the camaraderie. But you should join an organization that fits your current personality.
Yeah.
You should not join an organization that you mold yourself to be what they're stereotypical. Like I picked Zeta because Zeta I represented Zeta already. Like I'm cool, laid back, chill person in general.
Right.
And my whole experience with every time I encounter either Sigmas or Zetas before I became one, like I told you, it was always a welcoming situation. I never was ostracized. Even I went to Step Show at Baylor one year and I sat in the same section with them and nobody was like tripping. Like, but always when people come up to hug me, I would always let them know that
Yeah, I'm not part of it.
I'm not, I'm not a Zeta.
Now, let me-
And they would be cool. They would still like hug you anyway. So that like showed a lot to me.
Let me understand though, because again, I never joined the sorority. I don't know.
You wouldn't join the sorority.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I was to say.
Yeah, never joined the fraternity, and just know about it from everybody else, like joining and stuff. But I got a bug in my nose. That whole right here. That whole like.
I'm so done with you. Oh, I'm so
serious.
You're
done
talking
with
about
you.
what's up?
Right?
Yeah, I swear to God, y'all, if I exhale a little hard, y'all see that be a fly. Yeah, man, what the hell? Somebody
Don't
gonna
do
pause.
it.
Like, you see that booger fly in his nose? But my question is, so, I know people take it serious, but is the fraternity and sororities more like, and just dumbing it down, not trying to make
Right.
a joke? I know people take it serious, but okay. I'm gonna make a group of everybody that likes the color blue, and then they're gonna make a group of everybody like the color orange. They're gonna make a group of everybody to make like the color yellow, so forth, so forth. Now, let me finish. So, because you're about to say something. So, is it more like, okay, so we're gonna, everybody that likes the color white or green, whatever color, when they branch out and they go get jobs and they become Congress and they do this and they can become that, well, they got somebody because to lean back on, oh, we like the color, whatever, we part of your organization or whatever, now can pull us up, like you said, with the
Yeah.
connections, and then so is it sort of like that?
It's supposed to.
Like
It's supposed to work like that, but I'm gonna say this. I think this is about people's individual character. Like, if you have the character and you have the personality of helping the next person, no matter what, then it don't really matter in a sense. So, if you're about helping people, you help people no matter if we're in the same fraternity or the same sorority. But it does help.
You'll have a little bit faster, a little bit more.
Yeah, so
probably.
you will definitely have, and you will hope that the person has good intent. That's a goodwill person. We all know all skin folk ain't kin folk. All kin folk ain't skin folk.
I got that in my phone. All skin folk
Yeah.
can't file.
So you just hope that also you don't, that person just innately is a decent person. So if I go apply for a job and I put down that I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta on my application, and the hiring manager is a Zeta, maybe I don't know it, maybe I don't know it, but obviously she see that on my application, she probably gonna look out. I'm gonna say this.
Is she obligated to look out?
She should be, right?
That's what I'm asking. Like, because y'all part of the same.
I'm not gonna say she obligated because at the end of the day, she also has a job to do.
But if she don't, do you tell on her? Is it protocol or not tell? But like, is it protocol? Like, you look at her like kind of weird.
You're more inclined. I'm gonna say use the word more inclined. Okay. So if I'm a hiring manager and I see somebody come, or if I get heads up that they coming, then I'm gonna look out. So innately, that's why I went back to innately. If innately you're not a gatekeeper, you're not a dog ass person,
right?
Innately you gonna look out. It's no different than like if you and AC went to high school together, maybe y'all went to college together, but y'all took different paths, and you the hiring manager and AC come for a job, like, oh, we used to hoop together, or we used X, Y, and Z. You gonna look out?
I'm gonna give him a job just like I boss him around.
Okay, whatever.
But yes,
right.
I'm gonna look out.
Right,
I'm definitely gonna look out.
You're going to definitely look out. So it's the same thing. So you will hope that the person do look out and not on no BS, not on no gatekeeping type stuff. No, I think you good though.
No, that whole in there. You just
okay.
Definitely in there.
Leave it where it's at. Leave it where it's at.
So where did the brand and passion come from?
It was funny because it just got developed. I love how you just switched to. I love the transition. So what's funny is that, I started out in event planning. So when I moved here from Abu Dhabi, I was doing events. So, 2015-ish, 2016, I started doing printing. So I was just doing on the side, like with a marketing company. So, and that's how I started meeting business owners, honestly. So printing with them, they were printing business cards. And so I was, just getting clients for them without running to people or whatever. Because I was hosting a networking event. So when I first got here, I had this networking event called Throwback Thursdays that I used to have at Aloft. And so that was my way of meeting people. So I figured I'm been going to all these networking events. I'm going to do one of my own. So that way I can kind of control the atmosphere a little bit. So, doing that, working with the business owners through the printing and all that stuff, like I would end up having like conversations with people about how I build my brand and this. I'm like, what you talking about? Because honestly, I was in them streets. Let me just say that. When I landed, I was in them streets from 2013. When I say in them streets, I mean like just networking, meeting people, going to events. Like I was out there. So from 2013 to definitely 2017, that's 4 years consistently. I was so people were starting to know me. Then I was producing these comedy shows, which helped on top of that. Yeah. So, but I never looked at it as building a brand until people would start asking me about it. And I was like, now I'm having like hour-long conversations with people and telling them what to do in their business. I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of talking for free. So then I was like, let me go do a little research and look into this whole coaching consulting thing. So I did. Honestly, I read a lot of articles, a lot of journals. I really follow people just to be able to see what it's like to be a coach or a consultant in this business space. And so as I thought about all the conversations that I had with business owners that they would ask me about, it all boiled down to that they never had the foundation of their business and their brand together. I was at one barbershop. Bro, I had a whole barbershop and barely any insurance. Like, you just asking for trouble. Like, how you even get in a building with no insurance? Like, how did the landlord even rent it to you without any? Like, then I would meet people that probably didn't have a LLC, barely had a DBA, didn't have an EIN number, had no idea really who they were really what they were doing, who they really were marketing. And so when I decided, I was like, okay, I'm a brand coach is what it's going to be. So I started changing up my social media posts little by little and just started doing the tagline, the brand coach and Coach B. Michelle. So I just kind of just pushed it out there until it was to where it's at now. But that's kind of how I started with social. So my strategy was just through social media first. So I started changing up my content, my posting, my hashtags. And then I asked like a couple people to be my guinea pig. I
wish I was there around that time.
Let me test. Let me see how am I really good at this. So I worked with a couple people. They let me kind of brand their business, and then it just kind of went from there. And now so I even honed so our whole niche and where we work at, we really only help you build a foundation of your brand, meaning helping you understand your target audience. What type, we had a whole conversation about this, you changing up the podcast. A lot of people don't understand what it means to stay on brand. But they don't understand what it means to stay on brand because they don't have a brand or they haven't figured out what the brand is. And I was telling you earlier, if Radioactive Podcast is about that bullshit and that's what it is and that's the brand, then write it out. There's an audience for it. It's on Instagram, on the Shade Room every day.
Every day.
Because that's all the Shade Room is. So there's an audience for people that just like to relish in bullshit. That's what
Jason Lee. Jason Lee make a whole career off
right. So that's what I'm saying. If that's the brand of this podcast, then you stay on brand.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Now, if you feel like you want to switch it up, then that should be your total choice. Whether you switch it up, you decide you want to take an educational route or whatever. But you got to let people know if you're trying to be educated, this is not the podcast for you. We with the shits.
Right.
So you probably don't want to tune in. So I think a lot of people have not understanding what their brand is. It's hard for them to stay on brand because then you out here with 5, 6, 7, 8 businesses for what? You can make 7 streams of income in one business. You don't need to start 7 different businesses that require you to do the work, especially if they require you to do the work. You can build 7 streams of income with this podcast. Obviously, you have the podcast, so you have sponsorship coming in. At this, you have an ebook on how to start a podcast. That's another stream of revenue coming in. You can start doing speaking engagements. That's another stream about podcasting. I done named 4 already, or 3 for sure. So you don't need 7 different businesses. You need to learn how to make money in your one thing that you're good at.
Growing branches out of the business that you have.
You stick at the things that you're good at. And I'm not saying that you can't be good at multiple things, but when you find out what your gift is, then you stick with your gift.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you embellish or you develop your gift. And you build upon it. And a lot of people haven't figured out what their gift is. They just out here starting selling eyelashes, selling hair, cooking food. Just because you can do some things don't mean you should. Just because a person can cook don't mean they should start a restaurant.
How would a person? What's a good sign that this is your niche?
Number one, well, we'll go back to the gift. So understanding what you're good at and what people ask you to do. So here's the thing, that's one thing to do. If somebody always asks you for something or to do something, then you're probably good at it. So that's probably your gift. Once you really master and figure out what your gift is, now you got to then align it with your purpose and your passion. Hopefully your gift aligns with your purpose and your passion. And that's another thing. If you haven't figured out what your purpose is, the purpose is the why. So why do you do this podcast? You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing anyway for it to really grow and to develop to what you want it to be. If you're just out here just starting stuff, you might get the bag. Some people still having pandemic success. Some people still having pandemic success. Probably by 2014, they gonna really, really see if they really about this life.
Because 2014?
I mean, sorry, 2024.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was really
sorry, 2024.
Going back in time.
I know, right? Well, but 2014 was a good year. But 2024, you'll see, do you have a sustainable business? Because, see, during the pandemic, we was all about, and I'm only speaking for Black-owned business owners at this moment. So in 2020, it was about support black business, all because of the whole George Floyd thing. So people were just throwing money, supporting black business no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
People opened, like 4 million businesses were started during the pandemic. I'm pretty sure about half of them do not exist now. 4 million businesses were started. Some of them were fake anyway, trying to get the PPP, but the legitimate ones, probably half of the ones that were legit startups anyway, probably don't even exist now. So we were still in that whole support black business phase. So then we couldn't go anywhere. So we had no choice but to order food from Uber Eats. Notice, like, if you notice during the pandemic, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and the other one, they dropped their delivery prices. They started giving restaurants, they let them use the platform practically for free during the pandemic. So that time really was your time to really get your process and procedures together, figure out who you are. So my thing is now 2023, we're only really 3 years past the initial pandemic. So I'm gonna say we're really only 1 year and a half really out of the pandemic, honestly. So now you got to really see, is your business still sustainable? Your numbers still look the same that they look from 2020 to definitely beginning 2022. So a lot of people are about to find out if they had a pandemic business or not, definitely by the end of this year. If you haven't taken the proper things to build a sustainable business, build a scalable business, and that means, like, do you have a business plan? I don't know if you saw the post that I put up the other day. I said, there's a lot of people out there looking to invest in your business, but you can't even produce a P&L statement. That's a profit and loss statement. Most people don't even know where to get one from.
Yep, I sure don't. Tell us, please.
QuickBooks, your bookkeeping software. You create a P&L. We're not doing it by hand no more. So you get a P&L statement through your bookkeeping software. So if you have QuickBooks, FreshBooks.
I use QuickBooks. You want to show me where.
Yeah, you can just go in there and create there's a button on the left-hand side that say reports. You go into reports and just click profit and loss. And it'll create you a profit and loss statement for whatever range of dates you need it for. So if you
how long would you need to be in business for to be able to get that report?
I mean, you at least 6 months for sure. Probably you want to have at least about 6 months so you can see something. Okay. You can create a profit and loss statement in 1 month. Sure, you can. But if you want to get a good picture of your business, if you go create one, let's say you started the business in January, so June, you create a profit and loss statement, and you look over the course of the 6 months and see where your gaps are, but the best thing to do is when you do a profit and loss statement at the end of the year, and then you look at all 12 months.
Yes.
And see where are your low months, what are your high months, what was happening then. But nobody's investing in your business. Nobody, not their person, is investing in your business without seeing your books, without seeing your numbers. Period. You can't ask a bank. You can't ask an individual. You can't ask, even now with grants, they want you to you got to submit your tax returns and a profit and loss statement if you haven't done your taxes to apply for grants. Nobody is giving you free money. Nobody's giving you any money, whether it's free, a loan, or not, without you being able to justify why they should invest in your business.
In the first place, right.
And if you don't have a business plan, what you really doing? So you've been in business since the pandemic. You've been selling all these plates. You've been making all these T-shirts. You've been selling all these eyelashes. And between 2020 to 2023, not one time did you think you should have took any of this money and got an LLC, got a DBA, got some business insurance?
Okay, well, I want to ask why LLC over DBA?
Well, DBA just say doing business as.
Okay.
That's it. There's no protection. If somebody sue you for some slander or something on this podcast and all you got is a DBA,
they coming after my house, all my personal stuff.
All your personal assets. So the purpose of the LLC is to protect your personal assets, but the extra coverage is in the insurance. So this is why you need business insurance. So the LLC does protect your personal assets to some, but you also want to have good, it's like, depending on, it's commercial insurance, business insurance, liability. So it just depends on the type of business that you have. So every business needs a proper category of insurance. Like if you didn't got the bag for 2 straight years, and you probably got some PPP on top of that, like come on.
She looked right at me like I was guilty.
No, not you. But I'm
If
saying,
you don't got the bag,
right? If you didn't made all this money during the pandemic, and I'm just saying for the people who did, because a lot of people made a lot of money in the pandemic. Like 2 of my clients definitely made a meal.
Ooh.
Yes. 2 of my clients, he definitely was close to a meal during the pandemic, but he definitely hit a meal last year. So 2 of my clients right now just hit a meal, like revenue wise this past year. But definitely one of my clients actually made a meal during the pandemic. During that 2020, 2022-ish. So like not just that straight 2020, but they made a good bit of money.
I have a question with that. So this is something that I just started a business. I think I've been in business probably like 8 months. And
what business did you start?
I started a swimming pool business.
Oh, that's right, because you're supposed to come check on my pool.
Yes, exactly.
I got an above ground pool. AC didn't even want to come out.
Man, you said you trashed that thing pretty much.
At this point now, we either need to buy a new one or take it out.
Soon as you buy a new one or ready to take it out.
So he didn't want to come service my above ground pool. Y'all see?
She lying, y'all.
I told AC what we're going to do with this pool, but no.
So the question is.
But no, we've been having so many problems, so nobody will come service the freaking pool. Now it's
nothing.
At this point
put some
now,
water in there.
Well, at this point we need a new pool though, because I'm not gonna lie.
You got some holes or something?
I think it do from the bad weather. So we gotta have somebody come and just come take it away at this point. Just come get my grass back.
So my question is this: because what I've noticed is when you're making the money, you gotta pay taxes on that money, and the way to beat that pretty much is spend that money, as far as for the business. Well, I'm trying to figure out, how do you save money? If the objective is
you put it in like
spend as much so you don't have to pay as much taxes.
You put it in like insurance policies.
Okay, well, how does that help me for a rainy day?
So depending on the type of insurance policy that you put in, if you put it in a cash value type policy, you can pull the money out later, like if you need to do something with it. But that's when you if you got a lot of money, like that's what rich people do and wealthy people do. They throw all their money into insurance policies. And then when they need the money, they just go borrow the money back. They just go borrow the money out the insurance policy. But that's a particular type of insurance policy. So those are like cash value, whole life insurance policies that have a cash value to them. So that's how they do it. But you also can put it in different types of 401ks and 401. There's one particular one. It's called I'll think of the name of it, but there's one particular one actually for entrepreneurs. But you can put in like different investment tools, so that way you can pull it out later. But the real flex is you put it in a trust.
Well, all these things you naming is a thing that you're supposed to put it in there and let it build, right?
Yes.
So then what when you need the money immediately? My truck broke down
So that's like so when I say immediately, like even with depending on how your 401k or how your investment tool is, you can just call and pull the money out. Like maybe in a day or so. Like honestly. But if you need money right away as a business owner, you really should have a line of credit with your bank or your credit union. So
see, with a situation like me, only 8 months, I ain't got
it don't
that
matter.
yet.
You can still get a line of credit with. Okay, so there's like what's called non-traditional. There's non-traditional funding options. So there's companies that will give you a line of credit as long as you at least have been in business 3 months. You can get a line of credit. And so like if you have something pop off, you can just draw from the line of credit and then you pay it back. But also that's why you should have business credit cards on top of a line of credit as well. So that way you have access to capital when you need it. If something major happens
but
or you have to buy.
You can't save no money. In other words, you can't save no money.
But you can't. That's what I know. You can save the money. You just have to put it in the proper.
Without hiding it. I'm saying without hiding it, can you save money? I mean, even when it comes to paying yourself, this is another thing I noticed.
Okay, so
even when it comes to paying yourself, it's like you don't even want to pay yourself that much. You know what I'm saying? Because you get taxed on that.
So there's 375 different type of tax deductions.
Okay. 375.
There's the more money you make, the better you can not pay any taxes. Because honestly, that's what it boils down to. The more money you make, the less taxes you can get out of paying. The people that pay the most taxes are the people who don't make any money.
Mm.
So when you hit that high six figure, then yeah, like when you hit that 400, 300, 500,000 type of revenue, then you can start figuring out how not to pay all these taxes. Or you getting close to a meal or more. Like, yeah, but that's also why a lot of people, I mean, at the end of the day, that's why I feel a lot of people donate, they donate stuff so they don't have to pay taxes on the money. But again, there's trust. You can put money in a trust. You can put money in different, like I said, different financial vehicles, as far as investment tools and stuff like that. Obviously, insurance, like I said, with the insurance, you can put money in there because you can pull that money out. And some of us,
how do you put money in your insurance though? So
you buy a policy, you buy like a $300,000 policy. So like let's say you got $1 million in revenue and your overhead low, which is the worst thing ever. But let's just say, so you already know that especially if you know you're gonna bring in $1 million, then you can get an insurance policy. You get a cash value insurance policy for like $200,000.
Okay.
And you use the money for the insurance policy. Yeah. Okay. So you can, but there's different, so don't quote me. So please don't nobody quote me. So there are different vehicles where the U.S. allows you to put a certain amount of money in certain ones up to a max.
But even when you sit there and say, okay, 200,000.
Yeah.
Life
but you can have multiple of those.
But this is the thing. But there's a monthly payment for that. So can you pay extra on your monthly payment?
Yeah, you can just drop the money and be done. You can just drop the money and be out.
So you pay that whole thing. Mm-hmm.
Because it's accruing. It's definitely accruing to, especially if you with cash value, with a whole life policy that has a cash value attached to it. It's accruing money daily. I mean, your money is still growing. Mm-hmm. But you can also invest. I mean, you can invest in mutual funds. You gotta be smart about your investment options. Mm-hmm. You gotta pick the right ones for you. For me, I like to just have investment options where I can just dump money in when I feel like it. Because 1 month I might want to put 500, maybe 1 month I want to put 100. So I like to have those type of options where I can just dump the money the way I feel like it. But there are specific tools where you can dump up to like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 in it without any. And there's also vehicles where you can take money out without any penalty. It's just like you just got to have a proper financial advisor. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so let me just say that. But I just know some things. I know a little bit about a little bit. But you do need, if you're making that type of money, anybody making that type of money has a financial advisor. I would advise you to get one.
A financial
Once
advisor.
you hit six figures for sure, but even before
I just
six
found
figures,
mine.
I just told you I'm not a licensed. I'm a brand coach.
Well, however, you know
now,
enough about it.
I am a licensed life
insurance.
I'm a licensed life insurance agent. I am.
Okay.
I am a licensed life insurance agent. So do you have any life insurance?
I do.
Okay, good. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have some on your kids?
I do.
Do you have some on your kids?
Of course.
Okay, awesome. If you know somebody that needs them, holler at me. Okay. But no, so like life insurance, but that's like a whole nother thing, as well as we're talking about building generational wealth or intergenerational wealth as well. Like life insurance. Let me tell y'all, Master P. Do you follow Master P? Mm-hmm. Okay, so everybody know Master P. Well, I don't say everybody. If you don't follow Master P turned a $10,000. He got $10,000 beneficiary. He was a beneficiary on his grandfather's policy, which paid out $10,000. He turned $10,000 into what you see today. He turned $10,000 into $1 billion, but obviously over the course of damn near 30 years. Right. But when No Limit came out, Master P had money because he done bailed half of the people. I mean, if you're on YouTube and kind of watch some of these reels and podcasts, Snoop always talk about how Master P got him out, bought the house and got him away from Suge them. 50 Cent, he actually paid for 50 Cent's tour before 50 blew up. Master P gave him the money for the tour. So
that's a good person to have in your pocket,
right?
Boy.
So he's always because he learned the game when he was in Cali. He always talks about how he learned like E40 in some of their circle. how he really learned how to really build this record label. So he tried to come back to New Orleans and like really put people on, but like No Limit was the shit.
It surely was.
Like there would be no Lil Wayne, there would be no
The Cash Money who? And
Yeah.
No Limit was running it.
No Limit was first.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, and people don't really the Mia X, the Silk the Shocker, like that whole when they did that whole No Limit tour, I'm so mad I missed it because that tour was so fire. Everybody was on there, but he had been. But the thing I liked about Master P is that he put people on game, and he don't care. Like he tell you what's up. That's
He
why
don't hold it.
I feel like a lot of these celebrities and these rappers, I'm just not understanding how they don't have no money, or they not doing the right things with it. When all the people that came before you, they didn't already laid it out there for you. No NFL player, no NBA player, no soccer player, no nobody, especially sports, should ever end their career broke.
What should a rapper do with their money? Like, explain what a rapper should do.
Assets, and not not asses, but assets. Not asses, but assets. Like, you should be buying property. Like, you should be buying land. You should be buying houses. You should be investing. Like Chameleonaire. That's why I love Chameleonaire, because he went into tech. Chameleonaire made most of his money in tech. Because what was the last song he came out? Riding Dirty?
Yeah, but he made it. Yeah, he definitely did.
But I think he has some old songs though. But yeah, he's made a lot of his money in tech. He pivoted into an industry and used his money. And the thing about it is crazy. If you think about all the rappers now, they all started out as drug dealers, and now they millionaires in this whole rap game. Because Jay-Z was a drug dealer, 50 sold drugs. They all kind of started in that path, and that's why I'm just like, even these drugs, like, how you don't buy no house? How you out here selling all this weed and I don't have nothing to show for it? Like, you can't sell this much weed and you still renting an apartment.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Like, for real. Like, there's no way you selling drugs and you got all this money coming your way and you don't have nothing to show for it. I feel the same way about sports. There's no way that you get paid $800,000 a week and you don't have nothing to show for it. Like, for real. So no, you should, but it's also about, I think in our community, you're right, sometimes we don't want to listen. So after we done tricked off a good meal or two, now I'll bring up Ocho. I think every athlete needs to watch Ocho's interview with Shannon Sharp. Because he talks about how the first year when he was with the Bengals, he lived at the stadium. They let that fool live at the stadium for a whole year. He said all that jewelry that he wore, he bought the earrings at Claire's. And I know it ain't for everybody, but the fact that he wasn't about to be out here tricking off his money. And a lot of, even Marshawn, he never spent any of his like NFL checks after a while. He just lived off the endorsements. So I think like we have to start getting the mindset of building assets, and that assets could be businesses and venture capitalists. You can become a philanthropist. You can invest in people's business. You can buy real estate. Lorenz Tate. He's actually now he can technically a developer. So they invested in some in Chicago. They're building out some I think they're either apartments or some office buildings. So you can become a real estate developer. I mean, but you also, it's about connecting with the right people. And I think that going back to the sorority fraternity thing, like, it's about building good relationships. But I think this whole world is just really about networking in general. Right. And you got to figure out what circles and what spots you want to be in to get to where you want to go. Because, like, you definitely not going to get there by yourself.
I heard that.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, is this one thing you could say to the business owners out there before we go? What would that one thing be?
Whew. Oh, it's so much.
Pay your taxes.
I know. You know what? Real talk though. Yeah, file your taxes. I'm gonna say file your taxes because here's why. Everything is connected to your tax return. Anything you want to do to grow and level up your business is attached to your tax return. You can't apply for any grants without a tax return. You can't go ask for a loan without a tax return. You can't get anything for your business without a tax return. So file your taxes. Like, you cannot escape it. Mm-hmm. File your taxes. If you owe a lot, ask IRS to put you on a payment plan. Mm-hmm. They got payment plans with IRS.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, the IRS will put you on a payment plan. But, like, file your damn taxes. So many people, that was so crazy that it was so disheartening during PPP that time that a lot of people who really did need the PPP, they needed the money, they couldn't get it because they filed their damn taxes. Or either all they had was just the DBA. I'm not saying that you can't use your Social Security number. Why would you want your Social Security number out here in the world like that? And stop paying cash for stuff. I know that was more than one thing. No. But stop paying cash for stuff. Get some credit. Get a line of credit. Mm-hmm. Leverage other people's money.
Man, now that
OPM.
right there is gold. Gold. Leverage other people's money. That's gold right there.
Yeah.
Social media.
Coach B Michelle, all platforms. And 1L in Michelle. So Coach B Michelle 1L, all platforms.
Yo, you already know, man. Radioactive. You can catch us on YouTube under Radioactive. You can catch us on Facebook under Radioactive. Instagram, Radioactive_podcast. You know,
and right on the screen, y'all already know. Y'all feel me? Y'all can follow my brother at AceBoogie1388 and me at Official Lambo Warren on Instagram. Y'all feel me?
Yo,
Miss B Michelle, anything else?
No, I think that's it. I'm hungry.
Yeah,
already.
Yo, this is Radioactive.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Peace.
All right.